Show me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Welcome You to Kung Fu, the series where I have a guest who is not too indoctrinated into the world of Kung Fu cinema just as I am, and have them pick any movie that sparks their curiosity, and I try to find a movie that sort of pairs up with it, something that sort of complements it. This week, my guest today reviews movies with the intellectual sincerity of a Carl Sagan. He forms thoughts and arguments with the verbal tenacity of James Baldwin mixed with Roger Ebert, each video feeling like Leonard Maltin had a baby with Morgan Freeman. Meanwhile, my reviews and my criteria around them just sort of revolves around shooty shooty punch punch kick kick, good movie, yeah! JR, I welcome you to Kung Fu.
Wu-Tang martial expert. There's not many who can match up with him.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Glad to be here. Happy to talk some Kung Fu.
It's my favorite thing. I'm happy to have you. Do you have any experience with Kung Fu cinema at all?
The typical experience that people might say, like I've seen all of Jet Li's movies. I've seen all of Bruce Lee's movies.
So what is
All,
what is all of Jet Li's movies? The American stuff mostly, or
oh, yeah, like all of his mainstream American stuff. Same thing with Jackie
okay,
Chan, all his like mainstream American stuff. I think the one that I watched for today was probably like the first Jackie Chan movie I've seen of him outside of his American stuff, which was pretty
okay.
cool.
So you're not too fluent on his Hong Kong work.
No, not really.
Mostly the American stuff, the
American
rush
stuff.
hours through medallions.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing else
Okay,
besides.
okay. Based on those, I mean, you said some Bruce Lee movies, so you may have some familiarity with Hong Kong and kung fu and stuff. Do you have any sort of preconceived notions on the genre at all?
No, not really. Like I kind of just take the genre as it goes. Like sometimes when I get into like action movies, the stories seem pretty like thin because it's really just really heavy on the action, the
Right.
spectacle,
Lots of
choreography.
revenge.
But the stories are actually pretty, the stories sometimes are the best part. Like
Right.
the action's there to amplify it, but like sometimes I go on with that preconceived notion, then I'm surprised that the story was actually really good. So,
They're as much as I will always gush about great action, great martial arts, and fight scenes. There are many of them that do have some fantastic stories, and the best of them can tell the story. You can watch the movie on silent and enjoy it.
yeah, no, I agree. I could have watched 36 Chambers on silent, and I think I still would have
Absolutely.
liked it.
What what sort of imagery comes to mind when you hear kung fu cinema?
More like poetry in motion, like
Okay.
flowing water, like that, just elegance. Like those are like the things that I think about when I think of like kung fu cinema. Like it's elegant, it's
Mm-hmm.
clean, brutal, but it looks beautiful even in all of that stuff that kind
Right.
of like goes down with it. So that's kind of like the stuff that my mind goes to.
I like that because I've always been of the mind of it can be ugly. It can be downright violent. And if you can go from something like a 36 chamber, which we'll talk about here today, to something like The Night Comes for Us or The Raid 2, which has absolutely brutal violence. But in my mind, both of them are art. Both of them are art in action and martial arts in choreography in human form. So it doesn't matter if it's, elegant choreography, if it's Jet Li flying across the sky in Hero, or it's someone getting a nail shoved through their cheek or something in The Raid or something like that. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful cinematic movement.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Before we jump into some movies here, What do you have going on TikTok and the other socials if you're on the other socials?
On TikTok, I'm still just kind of deep into like Fantastic Fest stuff. So just still covering that remotely, watching that, and obviously just like any other like new films. And I might I might hop back into like the Odyssey series that I kind of
Mm.
started, try to like talk about some things related to that every week or so. So those are kind of like the big things that I'm really doing. Nothing else really like is popping out as that special.
What expectations do you have on that Odyssey movie?
I am
Are they sky high? Are they too high? Are they unmatched? Are they unmeetable?
I don't know, man. Like I've wanted that book to be turned into like a cinematic thing for so long, even like a TV series. Like I know we
Mm.
got one, but I've even wanted just like a high end like Netflix go do something with this, HBO, like
Mm.
somebody just take it. So I don't know that I trust Chris. I think
Mm.
Christopher Nolan can do it. It is an epic book though.
Yeah.
Like I'm keeping them low. Like I'm excited, but I am
Mm.
like I'm towing that line of just like I'm not gonna like fully go there yet until I see more from him, like a really fleshed out trailer. If I can see a trailer that shows me a little bit more, show me the Cyclops, show me everything else, show me a couple
Mm.
gods and goddesses, show me some battles. Like I want to see the Trojan War. Like don't just skip it as a flashback. Like show it to me. Show me
Mm.
Odysseus in that, building that Trojan horse. Then yeah, then I might be all in. So we just gotta wait and see.
I mean, you could always fall back on "Oh brother, where art thou?"
That is true. Yeah, you could.
All right. With all that being said, go follow him on his socials. Go follow him on the TikTok Screened and Scored. Let's go ahead and jump into our first film, the 1978 film directed by the great Lau Ka Lung, the 36th Chamber of Shaolin.
Abbot, I want you to shave my head. If you refuse to help, I swear I'll burn this temple down.
This is a Shaw Brothers film directed by Lau Ka Lung, written by Ni Kwang, starring Gordon Liu, Lo Lieh, Lee Hoi Song, Wilson Tong, among many other legends of the genre. The 1978 film 36 Chamber of Shaolin sees a student played by Gordon Liu living under a tyrannical government. After his family and friends are killed for conspiring against those in power, he seeks refuge in the Shaolin Temple, where he spends years perfecting his kung fu, building his skills, and strengthening his senses in hopes of returning to the outside world and avenging those he loved. Why did you choose 36 Chamber of Shaolin?
Because of Wu-Tang Clan.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I don't want to like misquote them. Like I think that that was one of the movies that they said that they were watching as they recorded that
Yeah.
album. So,
Except
yeah.
when they would have seen it, it was called Master Killer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Master.
because a lot of those movies at the time came over and just got retitled by some whatever studio decided to bring it over, and this one was retitled into Master Killer.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's interesting.
I prefer 36 Chamber of Shaolin.
Oh no, I do too. Master Killer just doesn't it doesn't vibe with it the same way 36 Chambers does. But yeah, like that one's been on my bucket list for a while, and I just
Mm,
haven't had I haven't had like a reason to check it off yet because I've just been so consumed with other stuff. So like this
yeah,
was
yeah.
the perfect opportunity to finally just like push everything else to the side and just like finally give it some love because I've heard
Mm,
nothing but good things. So and
right.
I was not pleasantly surprised, but I was entertained. It was a good time.
Yeah. I was glad I can help you knock that off the list. And that you sort of answered a little bit my question, one of my questions here, which was how familiar. And so, of course, you're familiar with this movie through Wu Tang Clan, straight from the 36 Chamber, as I believe they say in that song. Uh, were you familiar with the level of, I guess, popularity and acclaim that this movie has within the genre?
Did not. Like I'd heard about it, but I didn't know
Mm,
like it was like a thing that a lot of people have like already seen or were on their watch list. Like I went on
mm.
Letterboxd, like it's like deep. I was like, oh, okay, this is like a thing. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that like people were like on this train with 36 chambers, but nah, but I'm glad I finally got to see it.
Now, when it comes to the Kung Fu fans, this is always going to be on the top of the list. I don't know if it's in my top five because I've seen a lot of Shaw Brothers films, and there's people who have seen way more Shaw Brothers films than me. I'm not the most well versed in this section. This is something I came to a bit later into my like late teens, early 20s. But if you ever give a list online of like these are my top five, top 10 Shaw Brothers films, and you don't have this on there, there will be somebody in your comment section calling you insane or just questioning your knowledge of the genre, and it's very annoying.
Yeah, I bet.
So you don't have any familiarity with either the star Gordon Liu or director Lau Ka Lung?
No, everybody was fresh. The direction was fresh, so I'm in there brand new.
Have you seen the Kill Bill movies?
Yeah.
So you might be at least you have seen at some point the star of this movie, Gordon Liu, in those movies, especially in the second one, he is Pai Mei.
Yeah, now that you say it, I can immediately envision him. Yep.
So based on just sort of, I guess you said you went through the letterbox a little bit, and of course the Shaolin, the Wu Tang Clan stuff. Uh, did you have any specific expectations going in with this one?
Not really. Like I don't know why like because I knew nothing about it. Like didn't read a synopsis, nothing. I just remember it from the album. I remember a couple people talking about it. So I put it on my list of something to check off at some point in my lifetime. But I don't know why when I heard the title, I envisioned like a tournament style
Mm,
type of movie. Like that's immediately where my mind went. And then when we got about 10 minutes into it, I was like, oh, this is not a tournament style
no.
type of movie. This is something different. But I liked where it went and what it
Mm,
did with the story and everything. But yeah, that was my first immediate thought that this was about to be some like really intense blood sport type of
mm.
thing, you know. So yeah.
I don't think there's too many tournament movies off the top of my head within the Shaw Brothers section of Kung Fu cinema. Shaw Brothers is the studio that made this one, of course. They're one of the biggest studios in the world at the time. They had a whole compound where people would train in dance, acting, singing, martial arts, and all this stuff. And they signed people, to their studio like old school Hollywood did. So I can't really think of a lot of stuff like tournament stuff, but also a lot of the stuff in the genre comes from is like based on their history, their cultural history. So I guess not too many tournaments happening in like the 1700s for them to have to talk about. There's too much war going on.
That makes sense.
Did any what moments stood out to you? What are some of the highlights for you on this one?
Definitely like that first fight sequence. I think that
Mm,
that first fight sequence just kind of like set the tone for me in terms of
yep.
like where we were going. So I'm like, okay, I'm seated. I'm here. Like let's see where this goes. And then just the entire every single piece of the training montage. I think
Mm-hmm.
my favorite part probably was the water one. I don't know
Okay.
why,
The
but
for the
that one,
first two chambers.
yeah, like that one stuck with me, and probably the final one where he fought, where he had his makeshift weapon and
Mm-hmm.
he was fighting against the other master with a sword. So like
Right.
that stuck out for me too. But
Did
yeah.
you? So I know you. So if we keep coming back. I keep coming back to Wu Tang Clan. Uh, there is a deep history, a deep intersectionality of kung fu, Hong Kong kung fu cinema, and hip hop culture. So you mentioned in the water part just makes me think of want to bring up the sort of b-boy jump of like grabbing your foot and putting one leg through that hole.
Yeah.
Classic b-boy move came from this movie. Just saying. Just saying. The intersectionality is there. The
Yeah.
things are related. No, that first fight scene is I believe the dude who is the not the bad guy in that scene, the one who does die is Lau Kar Wing, who is the director's brother. The one of my favorite moments, like you said, is the fight between Gordon Liu and the other abbot. That is Li Hoi Song. Who Li Hoi Song is one of the most underrated, underrecognized names in all of the genre, all of kung fu cinema. He appears everywhere. He appears in movies like this. He's fought Sammo Hung. He's fought Jackie Chan. He's fought just about everybody there is to fight in all great fights. He's one of the main villains in the John Woo film Last Hurrah for Chivalry. But first of all, he's just great in this scene. I First time I saw this is probably only my third time seeing this. First time I saw this movie, I instantly fell in love with that scene because it encapsulates. That's the right word, right?
Yeah.
That's pronounced right. It fully encapsulates what I feel this genre can be about most of the time, and it is this overcoming an adversity, and that is kind of this whole movie. You know, it's the reason he comes to the Shaolin Temple is to overcome an adversity, but this is the most like direct version of that, in my opinion. Of he's told I can't move on unless I beat this guy. So he picks a weapon. He takes him on like twice. Both times he loses. He goes. He trains. He even pictures it in his head how he's gonna do it, and we see it, and it doesn't work out that way. And every time he just lose, go train, and then until he comes up with the 3-section staff, and he makes something his own, that is just so much of what martial arts is, both in cinema and in real life. You know, the very best martial artists, whether they be in the UFC or anything like that, they've made their style their own. They have made they've taken the martial part and combined it with the art.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, that is exactly what he does in this, of coming up with the 3-section staff, making it his own, adding the martial with the art. And it's just, I love that scene so much.
Yeah. You know, it's a nice build up to that moment in general. Like just seeing him at like that first chamber and where, he was at mentally, physically, emotionally, and just like how much he grew throughout that entire process, then to get to that point. Because I think that was the first point he wanted to go to, and he immediately got kicked out. He
Yeah.
just wasn't ready for what was there. And to see that growth throughout all that time, I thought was beautiful, because a part of me wondered like why we never went back to the village. And the more I sat with it, I was like, I understand why we didn't go back.
Yeah,
And we
he's in the temple for a long time. Like I was taking notes every time they said, because they made a point to say how long he's been there. He spent one whole year just cleaning.
cleaning, yeah.
Very, very Mr. Miyagi of them. But he spent a whole year cleaning. He spent 2 years training before he got to like the head training room, which is where they're just like headbutting all of the bags hanging down. So he spent 2 years getting to that point. So that's 3 years right there. And then like in total he's there for like 5 years
That's
to
crazy.
get, yeah. And like the movie does spend quite a bit of time. I remember the first time I watched it, I forgot about all the stuff going on outside. Like and the movie spends probably a good 30 minutes leading up to him getting to the temple, but then we just spent so long in the temple, and you get so involved in it, you want him to succeed so much that you forget what he was training for in the first place, which I'm totally cool with. I think it works.
Yeah, no, I think it works too, because then at that point, if we keep going back to the village and everything, then I think it starts to be about just the revenge.
Hmm.
You don't really get to sit with the growth of
Yeah.
this reckless man who comes into the Shaolin temple and then
Yeah.
comes out very disciplined, and that's essentially what he needed in order to
Hmm.
even liberate his people and to do what he
Hmm.
wanted to do in the first place. So yeah, because I think like halfway through, I forgot about the village, and then I was just like, wait, are we ever going back? Like, do people remember this dude? Like, he been gone for a minute, and we haven't like gone back to just see any type of like devastation. What this military entity is doing down there with these people. Like, we don't see nothing, but I think it works.
Yeah, it was and he never makes a point of saying I want revenge. He never makes a point of saying that like he needs to train so that he can go back and kill the people who killed his friends and family. He makes a point of saying, even at the beginning, when him and the other guy, before the other guy dies, let's go learn kung fu at the Shaolin Temple so that we can teach everybody to defend themselves.
Hmm.
And that's what he wants to do when he eventually gets there. But at no point in his training does he like make a point of saying, let's speed this up, I need to go. Like,
Right.
he fully understands that the purpose of every single chamber, at least after the first two, because the first one he's like so anxious about, he really starts to understand every single chamber and what he's doing, and he takes it seriously. And he never thinks, I need to get out of here. He just thinks, I need to get really good at this chamber.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
did you think of the one that blew my mind the first time I watched this was the arm strength one, where they have to carry the buckets of water and he has knives hanging from his arms so they can't drop and stab himself.
Yeah.
That one's brutal.
Yeah. That one made my arms hurt. And I think the headbutt one was crazy
Mm.
too. And but yeah, the water bucket one, like it, I don't know, it just brought me back to Mulan. Like it
Oh,
just
okay, I
the
can see that.
Mulan scene with that. But yeah, no, that part was cool, especially like once he got it, and then he was strong enough to not only do it himself, but then to like
Mm.
help other people out in the process, which he wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah,
But
they tell him like, stop doing that. You're making it worse for them. They're not getting everything they need out of it because you're helping them.
that was a cool part. I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, it was almost confusing. I remember because the abbots are like angry when he's done, but I think they're doing it on purpose, where they're like, get out of this chamber, and that's actually a good thing of being like, next one, go to the next one.
Yeah. Like you're too event like you making this look too easy. Like
Mm,
you're not even struggling. You helping other people. Like no, you're done.
mm.
Go do the eye one where you might burn your neck off or something. Like that one was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
too. Like I enjoyed that one too.
The eye one, I like the wrist one. For some reason, it's kind of fun to me, even though I don't feel like it makes a lot of sense. Where they like hit the bell every time we like hit our little drums. I'm like, none of you are on beat.
Yeah. But it was cool though, like seeing how like literally everything he did once he got back to the village served a purpose in some
Mm,
way. Even like the wrist one.
yeah,
Like it was cool to like see those little callbacks of like, oh yep, that's exactly what he was
mm,
training for. And it came in handy in that specific moment. So
yeah.
oh, cool.
No, there are tropes within the genre that I can't complain about because I do think they're so great. And the easiest example, the classic example that most people will have seen is Karate Kid. All the
Yeah.
wax on, wax off, and how he then applies that, or in the Jaden Smith one, uh, jacket on, jacket off, and he pushes. I like that. I guess for some reason I like that a lot. But the way he does, like you said, he takes what he learned in every single chamber, and there's like one particular fight scene where he applies all of it.
Yeah.
And I just like, even just watching it last week, I was like, that's perfect. This scene is perfect.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's again, it is a trope, but it is a trope executed to perfection.
Yep.
What did you have any thoughts on this old school, slower, more methodical style of fight choreography? Because you've seen some Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee. They are much more a fast paced style of action. How did you feel about this slower, more methodical stuff?
I actually appreciated this slower, more methodical one a little bit more. I feel like sometimes with like the fast paced stuff, at least the ones that like I've seen, it can get so chaotic that you can't really
Mm,
like appreciate like the artistry of most of it just because it's happening so fast. And there will be moments where like they'll slow down and really like emphasize a certain movement or a certain
mm,
point. And they'll like pause on it. But for the most part, it's like rapid fire, which is
yeah.
cool. I love it. But like with this, it almost looked like I was watching like two people dancing, but
Mm,
dancing very aggressively and trying to hurt one another in the process. But it just looked I felt like I could see every minute detail of every movement.
yeah.
And I don't know, like I appreciated this one a lot more. Like it's not as fast, it's not as like brutally violent as like
Mm,
later films, but yeah, but no, I appreciated the slow, like rhythmic pace to everything. Like I think
yeah.
it just made the fights look better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this one. So the director on this, and he probably even did the fight choreography and martial arts everything, is Lau Ka Lung. Lau Ka Lung is one of the most important names in the genre when it comes to directing and fight choreography and everything. He is one of the very best of all time. This is sort of the one that really launched him in his career. Like he had probably already directed like one or two movies, but this is the one where like 36 Chamber comes out and suddenly he's like a superstar director at Shaw Brothers Studios. And it's interesting watching like a lot of his later stuff, even just like a handful of years later, because this is what 70. So I said 78. I think in 81, 83, he does the 8 diagram pole fighter, which you can see his style develop and it gets faster. And I don't know if you've seen Drunken Master 2. He co-directed Drunken Master 2 with Jackie. So he then takes this sort of style you've seen here and it blends with the Jackie Chan stuff later on in the late 90s. Or I guess
Oh,
mid 90s.
yeah. No, that's dope. No, I haven't seen any of that stuff, but I'll definitely have to like check them out at some point.
You got to watch Drunken Master 2. It's one of the best of all time. So this being one of the most iconic films in the genre, I think we can happily say it didn't let you down, right?
No, it didn't let me down. Like I legit might watch it again this weekend because I told my wife about it and she was hyped for it. So I was like, yeah, we might sit down and probably watch it again at some point.
I recommend it. I recommend showing it. So like, I mean, I'll you know, I don't even may not get to them, but I'll give you like my top probably three recommendations for Lau Ka Lung would be this one. He has a movie called Hero. All of these are going to star Gordon Liu because they were the DiCaprio and Scorsese or De Niro and Scorsese of their time when it comes to this. But this one, of course, Heroes of the East, which is a fun one. It's a weird one about him. He marries a Japanese woman, and they constantly fight, bicker, and argue over whose style is better because she has a Japanese style of martial arts. And so she like writes a letter home saying like just complaining about her husband.
Yeah.
And then so like the family takes it the wrong way and sends like all of their best guys to
Jesus.
fight him, and they're just like, we're gonna kill you or you have to like earn your way with our family. And so he has to take his Chinese styles and fight against the Japanese styles, and it's a lot of fun. The other one is the one I mentioned earlier, which is 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. It is my favorite Shaw Brothers film. It's one of my top 3 kung fu movies ever made. It's fantastic. 8 Diagram Pole Fighter.
Okay, those are at it. I'm gonna check them out.
Do you have any final thoughts on 36th Chamber of Shaolin?
I mean, overall, great film. I really enjoyed it. I think I don't know, like I just like the progression of like the story. Like
Mm-hmm.
like even with like looking at like the first fight that happened, you could say that was reckless to like go in there and not sure if like the person you were trying to like assassinate was, in that wagon or whatever it is that they were
Mm-hmm.
carrying that person in. Like you could probably say that was reckless and that probably got him into trouble. The students and the teacher were doing probably reckless. Like a lot of reckless
Mm-hmm.
decisions got them all in trouble early on. And like to your point, like when he got to that temple, there was never like this rush of like, I want to be great now. Like I don't want to put in like the time and effort to
Mm-hmm.
be good. And just the methodical approach, the different nature of each chamber, I thought was really cool. Like each way it was like directed, the tone of each one felt very different, which I appreciated. And just the journey in general, like just seeing from where he was from point A to where he got to point B, he was a completely different person. And so like
Mm-hmm.
I always appreciate films that have a good like 180 where I can see like the change physically in the
Yeah.
character, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he has his like he has this, of course, the I guess more of an internal change, but it doesn't change his exterior motive.
Hmm.
So he has all this change that makes him a better person, which again is very much what the kung fu genre is about. There's so much of kung fu is bettering yourself. It's just again I kind of said it earlier of just like in the movies, just like in real life. You don't take martial arts to stay the same. You take martial arts to better yourself in some way. And so he becomes a better person, becomes a better fighter, and all this stuff. But just as he walked in saying, I need to train my people, they offer him, take any of the 35 chambers, because there's only 35. Take any of the 35 chambers, you can be in charge of that one. And he's like, well, actually, I want to introduce a 36th. I want to teach the people. And they're like, we don't do that. And he argues and gets thrown out. And he's like, all right, that's what I wanted. Y'all threw me out. I'm going to go teach my people.
Yeah.
And the 36th chamber is outside of the temple. It's for the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, dope movie. Dope movie. Glad I got that.
I love it. I gave it another 5 stars on Letterboxd. It is fantastic. And again, my review was just, yep, that's 36 Chamber of Shaolin. Let's go ahead and jump into our next film, directed by the late Benny Chan, 2011's Shaolin.
My tiger kung fu is better than yours.
俺知道你。我想留在少林。一起练吧。出手不见手，见手不为定。
Directed by Benny Chan, original screenplay by Alan Yuen, starring Andy Lau, Bing Bing Fan, Nicholas Che, Jackie Chan, Wu Jing, Jing Yu, Yu Hai, and Xiaokun Yu. 2011 Shaolin tells the story of a Chinese warlord named Ho Chie, played by Andy Lau. After losing his power to a coup, retreats to the Shaolin temple that he previously defiled in hopes of saving his daughter's life. But after the monks are unable to save her, Ho Chie wallows in his misery before requesting to become a monk in search of redemption and forgiveness. I chose this movie because, first of all, the similarity of our protagonist retreating to the Shaolin Temple. It is it's the contrast of the old school way of doing that and the modern way of doing that. And not at all because it is in my top 4 on Letterboxd and is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. No.
How did you feel about this one?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I could see the parallels between like this one and 36 on like a couple of different levels. So like I understood why you picked this one too. And but yeah, like I mean like it just I don't know, it was different. Like I enjoyed the story a lot. I enjoyed the action a lot and just again like the growth, the 180 turn and everything. Like I had a good time with it. It was a little long, but it didn't really bother me. Like there got to a point where I was so hooked in, and then when I looked at the clock again, there was like 5 minutes left, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's crazy because I've seen this movie roughly 15 times, and do you have those movies where you know every single dramatic beat? So for me, I'm like it's not even long for me anymore. I'm just like that happens, and then that happens, and then that happens, and then that happens. That's this movie for me.
Yeah, it was, to be honest with you, it was because like with 36, like I didn't really get emotional with 36. But with this one,
Oh yeah,
and I don't know if it's just because like I have a daughter.
I was about to say it's because you got kids.
This one, yeah, this one hit me a couple times, not even just that scene, but a couple of them. And I think it's just because they do a really good job, like, grounding you in a lot of these characters in a way to where like you actually do give a damn, like you care about it. And yeah, so it was a little bit more emotional than I thought.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't ready to shed a couple tears, but I did.
Now everybody in this gets their development or something to do that hits you in the feels. I mean, I saw someone describe this or say like, "Oh, it's a Jackie Chan movie I've never seen." I'm like, well, it's not a Jackie Chan movie. He's in it. He's a supporting character, but also he has, I wouldn't maybe call it an arc, but he has, I guess, one of the best developments in the movie, because the first time we meet even his character, and again, he's not even the main character, he's a supporting role. He's counting straw in his hands, and he's doing like the childish thing of stay in Shaolin, leave Shaolin, stay in Shaolin, leave Shaolin. And by the end of the movie, he's essentially going to be the new abbot. He's going to be the new top guy in charge because he has to lead his people out of the temple.
Yeah. Yeah, and his sequence was cool too. When
Yeah, he
when
got
the,
the lighthearted moment into the movie.
when the kids help him out, like, that's pretty cool.
What I don't know about expectations for this one, but just from the opening scene of this, him, our main character, our protagonist, murdering a man literally on the front door of the temple. Where did you think that his role here was going to go?
I thought, okay, what I thought was gonna happen, because this was another one where I stayed away from it. Like I didn't read it. I just wanted to go in blind to see how I would react to it. I thought he would stay the antagonist. I
Mm,
thought it was the other person who initiated the coup. I thought that was the
mm,
one that was going to end up going to the temple and coming back in some way, shape, or form to protect or enact some type of revenge against him. And
yeah.
so like, when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, so this is not going exactly where I thought it was going, but now I'm interested, and everything that followed after that was like a surprise after
Mm,
surprise. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't read up on it. I'm glad everything kind of just caught me where it needed to catch me.
yeah. When you see that contrast between them uh, early in the movie when the British, I'm guessing it's the British, are trying to make a deal to sell the guns to them, saying, "Hey, the guns are free. You just let us build a railroad."
Mhm.
And Nicholas Cho, who's the right hand man in this, he's the one who's like, "Do it. I want these guns. Let's get these guns." And Andy Lau saying like, "No, I don't want it. Take it somewhere else." And him making the point of, "This is our land. I'm not going to let somebody else carve it up.
Mhm.
I'm not. I didn't fight for this land just to let somebody else have it."
Yeah.
And then the B's still just like, "No, I want those guns."
Yeah, no.
What what did you? So again, we talked about the old school kung fu stuff. How did you feel about sort of the new school looking back at the old, having watched some old school kung fu?
Yeah, I appreciated it. Like I think I still enjoyed 36 Chambers a little bit more, but I
Mm-hmm.
still enjoyed a lot of like the action set pieces in this one. I think that final battle is just epic in
Mm-hmm.
every like all of like the huge fights that happens, but all of like the smaller personal ones that are kind of like
Mm-hmm.
dispersed throughout. Like I enjoyed a lot of those. But yeah, Jackie's moment I thought was fun with the kids, like reminding him to like use his cooking techniques to like help
Mm-hmm.
him like ward off those enemies. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. Like I enjoyed literally every bit of this. The slow motion pieces, like some of the sequences where and I don't know, like I think Jackie was the one who I saw first do this. So like I don't even think it's like a him thing. It could be a thing like long rooted in Kung Fu cinema that like I just don't know. But like there was one moment where I think the general first got to the temple and I don't know if he busted through a door or something, but one of the monks just like caught it with his foot and just slammed it back into place like
Mm-hmm.
it was nothing. I'm like, oh yeah, I see Jackie do that all the time in Rush Hour, but like so that's initially where my mind went to, but like then I'm like, oh maybe that's not a him thing, maybe that's like
Right.
that's been there for a while and he just tailored it to Rush Hour the way he needed to, but yeah, all of that stuff was cool.
It's the skill and the smoothness. You brought up that final battle. One crazy thing about that final battle is pretty much all of those explosions were pretty much real because they just went out, I guess, into the middle of nowhere and they built a Shaolin temple. They were like, we're not gonna blow up a real Shaolin temple, so let's just go build one. And they built one and they blew it up.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that's effective. You gotta worry about no CGI or nothing. Like that's the real deal right there.
It was rad. One thing that so you talked about the emotion here. Andy Lau, who is one of the biggest movie stars, even like musical acts in China and Hong Kong, his performance in this is just so incredible, and just one scene alone blows me away. And there's many more in this. He's very very good in this movie. But when he's hanging out with Jackie Chan and he hasn't decided to become a monk yet, he's still just kind of sitting in his sadness because his daughter's died. And he's sitting there eating noodles, and Jackie Chan, who is trolling him, Jackie Chan is just egging him on, and he's like, "Oh, hey, funeral for your daughter's going on. Do you want her cremated or buried? If she's buried, you can, she's kind of there, but if she's cremated, you can carry her around and take her with you." He is just bothering him. But while he's sitting there, Andy Lau is sitting there eating his noodles, and he just starts crying. And I'm like, that is the most genuine emotion you can find. Yes, there's other great performances by other great actors around the world, but while he's just sitting there eating and he just starts crying, I'm like, that man, he give him an award. He's that good.
Yeah, that one, and the whole sequence with his daughter. Like, I thought back to I don't know if you've seen Mystic River, but that whole scene with like Sean Penn and Kevin Bacon when he doesn't know if that's his daughter who
Yeah.
who they just found, and his breakdown with like all the police trying to like hold him back so he doesn't go see what's like beyond that ridge, and him breaking down at that moment, and them like, and they're not even fighting him to hurt him, like they're fighting him to just like protect
Full
him.
restraint. Yeah, they're just trying, like, they never strike him.
Yeah.
They the monks in formation with their staffs just, like, I guess just suspend him. They grab him, and they even at one point they do throw him in the air, and then they catch him and put him down.
Yeah.
They never hit him once. They're just like, calm down.
That scene got me because that scene, I had to like pause it for a minute. I was like, hold up, what is? Because that's not what I expected to happen. Like,
No,
because
you came for kung fu, and you
well,
got sadness.
I came for that, but I also didn't think like that the daughter would just. It's not. Because you always think that like they're not gonna do that to a kid, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
somehow, some way, like the monks will work their magic and like she will be good. He's still gonna realize that like his actions got her into this situation in the first place, and he's gonna change to be a better man, a better father, a better husband. And the movie's just like, no, like, we're taking everything. Like, he is going to be blank canvas of pain, and he needs to figure his way back out of it. So
We saw her get hit by a horse.
I did. I thought she was done at that moment. Like the fact that she was, I was like, yo, she took that hit like a champ, man. She got back.
No,
I mean, she was still kicking after that. Like, I thought she was done with after that moment.
she still had to roll down a hill.
Yeah, that little girl went through a lot, man.
Well, and then even then, like, she's dying, and she still tells her dad, like, stop fighting. I'm okay. It's fine. She's not okay. It's not fine. But what you've mentioned a few times the Jackie Chan fight and the kids telling him to use his cooking skills. My probably very favorite scene in this movie is not a fight scene, as much as I enjoy all the fights in this movie. My favorite scene in this movie is when Andy Lau is running through. He's doing his forms with this kid at night, and the abbot and Jackie Chan are watching, and the abbot tells Jackie Chan that Andy Lau's character has achieved Zen. He's achieved martial Zen. All the hate in his heart, everything he's ever had is gone, and he's changed and is a new man. And Jackie Chan is just saying, like, I wouldn't know. I don't do kung fu. I don't know. Jackie Chan's character in this, it says, as a kid I did some. It didn't really fit for me. I cook. So he's like, no, I wouldn't know what you're talking about. I don't do all that stuff. But good for him. And the abbot, just to knock some sense into Jackie Chan, tells him, would you prefer I give you a piece of gold or mud? And Jackie Chan just says, well, I'd rather have the piece of gold. And Abbott says, okay, what if I then give you a seed? And Jackie Chan just sits there and he's like, oh, okay, I get it. He's like, I may not have the piece of gold. I may not have the kung fu skills of him,
Mhm.
but I have my own thing. And he even Abbott tells him the way he's in Zen right now doing kung fu, you achieve that every single time you step in that kitchen.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I could tear up right now thinking about that. I don't know why, just like that hits me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a good moment. I think, like, yeah, outside of like all the fights, I enjoy like the moments of him like giving back
Mm,
because I thought that was a nice parallel juxtaposition, whatever the right word is, from the beginning of the movie where he's the cause of all of this chaos, the reason why people are struggling to eat, why times are hard, him, the other warlords, whatever. And then like for him to then be in that position of like feeding these people and having to give back to those
mm,
people. And even the moment where like those boys go missing and he goes to find their bodies and he brings them back. And
mm,
even like that moment where like the rest of the monks see him bring them back and the weight that he has just on him as he's walking away and those mothers are going to find their sons and everything like that was a scene that hit me too. And one that didn't hit me, but that just I smiled at was the training sequence where he's kind of there by himself,
mm.
just going through the motions, and then he sees them all running and
Yeah.
stuff today, and he's leaving, and you know, they've had history, but
Yeah.
they tell him to come train with him,
Yeah.
and he just has like
Train with us.
the biggest smile on his face once he starts like getting into it. So yeah, there are like definitely some like good heartwarming moments in this thing too.
Yeah, the actor who plays the monk who tells him to train with us, he is one of the well, he is probably the biggest action star in China now. He's even probably one of the biggest directors in China now. It's Wu Jing. He has some great stuff in like the late 2000s that I adore. But for a moment early in his career, he was like the Sean Bean of of China and Hong Kong because he died in everything. And he dies in this. He's the one who dies like holding the door shut, and he gets like stabbed to the door, and he tells the other monks to get out.
Mhm.
But and I love that scene. That scene is epic. But yeah, for a long time he was just the Sean Bean of China. He just died a lot. What fight scenes, or I guess I mean, we've talked about some of the dramatic stuff. What some of the fight scenes that stood out to you in this one?
I don't know, like there's so many. Like I would say like I wish I like knew names more readily off the top of my head, but the monk who was a part of the crew that was still in the race,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that sequence where like he fights the
The sword guy at the end.
yeah, like that whole sequence, I really enjoyed that moment. And even just how he ended it. Like he knew like that was it, but that was his moment
Mm,
to kind of like make his move and do what he needed to do. Like I thought that was a good moment for his character and just that whole final sequence between the main two
yeah.
and everything that transpired with that. And even like that final moment where it explodes and his body just flies and
Mm,
he just watches him land in Buddha's hands. Like I
mm,
don't know, like that whole fight and just the fight and the interaction, I think is why that one sticks out for me. Like it's physical but
mm,
emotional. Like they are fighting each other, but they are also like working this stuff out between
yeah.
both and realizing that like they both were wrong. They both hurt each other. They both have done things that they probably shouldn't have done. And like even him coming to this realization that he's gone too far and seeing what
Mm,
his actions have done to somebody he used to like look up to, consider a friend, like whatever
mm,
how you would describe their relationship. But just to see everybody have that full circle moment and then for it to be this moment where like we are infighting,
mm,
but then it's still the foreigner who was trying to kill all of us. Like
mm,
we have this beef, but there is a much bigger thing out there that doesn't care about any one of us. And I thought that was a
mm,
nice touch too, just to have that come back in that way.
yeah. Did you expect? I guess we'll go full spoilers on this 14-year-old movie. Uh, did you expect just about every main character in this to die?
No.
Like everybody, it's literally everybody, but Bing Bing Fan, his ex-wife, and Jackie Chan. They're the only main, like, relatively main characters who live.
No. The only one. and there was only one who like I thought was gonna see the end, just because like the movie kept like hovering on this character as like an important figure, and it was the one who held the doors and got stabbed at the
Yeah.
door. Like, I knew he was gone. Like he was gonna have some moment where he took one last stand. I didn't expect any other death to happen.
Mm,
All of them caught me off guard. But then I thought about it and I'm just like, they all made sense. Like they sometimes those things can, I think, be unnecessary. Like they're just shock value for the movie.
mm,
But I felt like all of that stuff made sense. I think you had said it earlier, like Jackie's character now kind of like becomes this new Abbott, this new person in charge. And everything that was once there is now gone. They fought to
mm,
protect it. They fought to make sure like the future generation of this place was able to get out safely. And now Jackie
mm.
is the one that has to like lead them. So it all made sense in the end. But yeah, as I was watching it, I'm just like, like, is anybody, are these kids gonna make it out? Like things are exploding. Like I don't know who's gonna live at this point after a couple people died. So yeah, it was a little unexpected.
Yeah, they had a Thor Ragnarok moment where in Thor Ragnarok when what is it? I'm not Isengard, but totally blanking on what Thor's world is called. What's Thor's world called?
Asgard, yeah.
It's just yeah, okay, I said Isengard. Asgard. Asgard falls and people are upset and Thor says, "No, Asgard is it's not a place. Asgard is a people." And so Jackie Chan has that where the kids are like, "Shaolin's gone," and Jackie Chan's like, "No, we're Shaolin.
Hmm.
Like that's just a place. Like we continue this legacy. We get to keep it going." I appreciated that the movie doesn't just end on the violence, but we get like a flashback to like an hour before that between Andy Lau and his ex-wife, and they have a nice moment where he gives her the urn, and she just says like, "I know we can't be together, but I like you this way."
Hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know if I can fully read his face on that because he just kind of he doesn't really react to it. He just
Mm.
kind of like puts his hands together and is like, "Yeah, I'm here." He's like, I'm completely content. I didn't really need your approval. I don't know if that's what he's thinking, but I could not get a read on his face on that whatsoever.
Yeah. Or, he's probably like, yeah, I like me this way too.
I'm pretty good. I got good kung fu. Do you have any final thoughts on 2011 Shaolin, directed by Benny Chan, the late Benny Chan? He passed away about 3 years ago.
No, I mean another good one, another surprising one for me. Yeah, like I thought the action was purposeful in this. Like, because like I said earlier, like sometimes you can have all of this stuff happen and it's just like noise to compensate for weaker parts, whether it's like the story isn't well put together, so we need this to kind of distract from that, or the certain characters aren't what they need to be. But none of this stuff felt like distraction. It all felt
Mm,
purposeful. And I think you had asked about like what was the favorite part. I completely blanked on this one, but it was right after the fact where he had just killed his brother and the axes come through and they
mm,
like split the table in four. Like I thought that was a pretty dope moment. But
yeah.
yeah, just a lot of dope moments. Good movie, emotional movie. Really enjoyed it.
One thing I like in that scene is his brother. I mean, I guess it's sort of his brother in a way. It's like everybody calls him Big Brother just because he's in charge, but
Mhm.
the other guy learns of his treachery. He gets a note saying, "Hey, watch out for this ambush," and he's angry at first, and then Andy Lau then stands up and shoots him, and that's when the assassins and stuff come in, and they're about to get the jump on Andy Lau, and the guy he just shot is still alive, and he has his back still, and he shoots the assassin who's about to kill him, and then he's pretty much just like, "Get out of here, go."
Yeah.
So there's like he's even I guess before he has his face turn, he sees this element of forgiveness up close.
Mhm.
So that sort of follows him through the rest of the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I saw this many years ago. I rented it from a rental store when those existed, and just ever since then, probably about 2012, it's been one of my just all-time favorite movies. I think the kung fu is perfect, the story is perfect, the characters are wonderful. You know, I make the joke at the beginning of this of how, you know, I just watch movies for a shooty punch punch kick kick, but again, my favorite scene in this movie is not a fight scene, it's just a talk. It's a talk between Jackie Chan and the Abbot that I think is perfect. Like, this movie is just 5 stars for me in my head. You said it's a bit long, but even if it's a bit long, I don't think there's a wasted scene in this movie.
No, I agree. Like it's not like there gets to a point where like there got to a point where I like felt it a little bit, and I was just like, how much more is in this? But there never got a point where I was like bored with it or where anything felt like unnecessary. Like I was with it all the way through, and then like I said, at some point it got so fast that I looked and it was over. And I'm just like, I didn't want it to end, but yeah, it was good.
Oh, I actually made a note on this. I just remembered it. Um, Something I never noticed before watching this last night. Again, I watched it for like 25th time. Is Nicholas Chi's character, the bad guy in this movie? So Andy Lau takes him on with the staff standard Shaolin weapon, but Nicholas comes in with a very Western sword. He doesn't come in with a Chinese sword. He comes in with a Western sword. And like, you know, he spent all movie wanting the guns, but he came in using a pretty much like a European weapon.
Mm. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just saw it. I noticed it last night, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bad guy sword right there." Let's jump into some final questions for you here. Do you have any takeaways from this dive into the world of Kung Fu cinema? Watching some old school, watching some new school.
It's not really a takeaway. I guess it's more of like a question. And like maybe you have the answer to it or maybe not. But like as I like watch these, right, like I really enjoy them. And then as I'm logging them into like to Letterbox, I see a lot of people have really enjoyed them. And my thought was like, why aren't these movies like bigger here? Like compared to
Mm,
like other stuff that kind of like pops up here in like the action
mm,
space. Like even like with Neja too, right? Like
mm,
I saw that I saw that right around the time like it hit China because they were showing
mm,
it here, but it was only in Mandarin, so you
mm,
couldn't get any dub version yet. And yeah, I went to the theater. I was like the only like only black dude up in here. It's like a sea of just Asian folks. And
mm,
like yeah, like, and I've never heard of most of these movies. You know, like
mm,
I might catch glimpses of them like through like other stuff that I'm watching, hear references sometimes. Like I've learned a lot of stuff from like you and stuff that like you talk about on like your platform in regards to like martial arts films. So like why don't these movies like make it over here as well as they do like overseas? Like why don't they like translate well?
mm.
Like in like a mainstream sense. Like why aren't we pushing these out like a new release like him,
Well,
weapons.
that's the weird thing is in so many ways they do, and in so many ways they don't. I mean, you could always jump to what Bong Joon Ho said at the Oscars a couple years ago. You know, some people are just so scared of
Mhm.
that little subtitle there that they don't want to watch a movie. But you of course had something like 36 Chamber. Of course, the reason that Wu Tang saw this in the 80s and 70s is because in the early 70s there was a big wave of Hong Kong kung fu movies that hit the U.S. You know, of course, you have the Bruce Lee stuff, but even before Bruce Lee, you had Five Fingers of Death, and there
Mhm.
were several months in the early 70s where a kung fu movie was the highest grossing film of the weekend. But that eventually fades. You get other examples of martial arts cinema taking over with like Van Damme and stuff. But the reason I say in so many ways it does, in so many ways it doesn't, is because yes, you have that wave in the 70s where a lot of Hong Kong movies were making it over here, particularly in certain communities, lots of black communities in New York. Um, but then you get into the 90s, the late 90s, where not only is Jet Li and Jackie Chan starting to come over, even Michelle Yeoh and John Woo and Chow Yun Fat. But you have filmmakers who are then fans of this stuff making their stuff. You, of course, have your Tarantino. You have the Wachowskis who bring over Yuen Wu Ping, who is the director and fight choreographer of some of the greatest kung fu movies ever made. He helps them make The Matrix. And there is an element of they do and they don't. Because, yes, Yuen Wu Ping and his team are crafting incredible action in The Matrix. The Matrix, yes, it is an amazing science fiction film. I will straight up say The Matrix is one of the greatest kung fu movies ever made. It's one of the greatest Hong Kong kung fu movies ever made. But then where, again, they do and they don't, the don't part is Hollywood taking a bad lesson from that. They're saying, oh, people like The Wire stuff. So then you get shit like Charlie's Angels. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to actually do... They're not going to bring over someone from Hong Kong where, yes, you have Yuen Wu Ping, but as great as Yuen Wu Ping is, and he is one of the greatest of all time, it's kind of weird to say, but there's 20 Yuen Wu Pings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have Joseph Kuo, you have Lau Kar Leung, you have Sammo Hung and his team, Jackie Chan and his team. There's so many people in that industry who know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
But instead of bringing people over like the Wachowskis did for The Matrix, they just did bad kung fu and put people on wires.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and where it eventually comes back around in a way is John Wick, is Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, and even the guy who made Extraction. Totally blanking on his name. You know what I mean? Even J.J. Perry, who did The Killer's Game with Batista, Day Shift on Netflix with Jamie Foxx. Guys like that, Chad Stahelski, David Leitch, J.J. Perry, they're kung fu nerds. They grew up on kung fu movies. They made kung fu movies. A lot of them went over and did stunts in Hong Kong and stuff like that, low budget stuff. So they then, now that they're in the director's chair, they're making their modern day Hong Kong kung fu movies. John Wick 3 and 4. I always say John Wick 1 and John Wick 2 are action movies with martial arts in them. John Wick 3 and 4 are martial arts movies, and they're not just martial arts movies, they're fucking incredible martial arts movies.
Mm-hmm.
And all that comes from Hong Kong influence.
Yeah.
So, like, again, the answer to the question being they do and they don't.
Yeah.
They should a whole lot more, because whenever, you know, I see people who, you know, some movies break through that glass ceiling is a weird way to say it, but, you know, a movie like Ip Man
Mm-hmm.
lands on streaming a decade ago, and people see it and people love it.
Yeah.
It's just up to them to look for more.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Like, yeah, all of that makes sense. Because, like, sometimes, like, you know, like, I'll be, like, looking to see, like, what's planned, like, a certain week, see if, like, there's anything, like, early popping up or whatever. And, I'll see, like, there's always this one theater that always has, like a Chinese movie or some a kung fu movie. And they're only showing it, like, one time, and they'll show it,
Yeah.
like, night, or, you know, it might have, like, 2 or 3, like, show times. And, like, I'm not familiar with, like, that movie. Like, I haven't seen any type of promotion for it. I don't know what it is, but, like, I'm sure it's dope. You know, like,
Yeah.
I can't even, like, remember the title of it, but I don't know if, like, you've seen the video game Black Myth Wukong, but that element is in a movie, and I saw it, and I think it was, like, the sequel to it, or it was
Yeah.
you probably know what I'm talking about if you go look for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, like, I saw that was playing, and I was like, yeah, I might go check that out, but I just didn't have time. But yeah, I always see, like, these little nuggets of kung fu movies, like, sprinkled out, but I just wonder why they're never, like, more prominently, like, pushed. But you know how you label
I mean,
that.
it's just like the fear of it's the fear of the unknown, and it's a fear of the unknown. It's a willing to ridicule the unknown. I've seen a handful of these foreign films in theaters. Last year I saw a Korean film. It was The Roundup Punishment, which is a great Don Lee film. Don Lee is one of the best foreign action stars in the world right now. When I saw that, I was the only person in the theater. I saw Kill last year. You know, that Indian movie on a train?
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
I saw that in theaters last year. I was the only person in that theater. But an example of just maybe just shrugging something off because you don't really know what it is. I'm guilty of it because I did it 2 years ago now, I guess it would be, where, you know, my theater here doesn't get a lot of Chinese films, but my theater here gets a lot of Indian films. And I, as much as I have a handful of Indian action films that I adore and I will recommend to anybody, I'm just not very well versed in that area. So I ignored RRR. I didn't go see RRR even though it played in my town. And then when I watched it at home, I'm like, why did I not go see this movie? And it's just because it was something I didn't know about. It was just an unknown that I was like, that's all right.
Nah, that's not just you, man. I feel like everybody like finally hopped on that bandwagon once it hit Netflix. Like we all finally understood, like, oh, okay. Yeah, we
Yeah.
get it.
How do you feel having seen a sample of old school and a sample of new school kung fu?
I'm intrigued to kind of dive into it a little bit more. So like you would name like some of like your favorites from like that director. So I think I might go check it out. Especially since you say like his like style evolves a little bit later on, like it gets a little faster. So like I'm intrigued to see
It
that.
gets faster, and in many ways, it also gets goofier. He does a movie called Dirty Ho, which sounds like an awkward title in American, in English, in American. That's very American of me. In English. But Ho is somebody's name. So Dirty Ho because this person is a criminal. Dirty Ho. That is a kung fu comedy.
Oh, okay.
And it's a weird one. It's goofy and it's weird and it's strange. But I like it.
Yeah.
There's a great scene where somebody essentially gets like puppeted. Like somebody's standing behind them and they'll kick their foot up to be like, kick with that foot, move this arm. So they're like a standing puppet. And it's very, very fun. So I guess you've already kind of said here, but my next question is, how likely are you to dive further into the genre?
Oh, very likely. Yeah, like I'm gonna do some research, might reach out, might go back and check out a couple of your old stuff, see what like you've already recommended and put out there. But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested to dive a little bit deeper into watch some other stuff. And like I might go see that movie that like I haven't been gonna go see when it pops up in theaters, like just to see like does it scratch an itch? Is it something that I can maybe like spread the word about a little bit more? So yeah, like I've always appreciated kung fu movies, but I haven't seen one in like a while. You know, like I haven't like sat down and like made time for it. So like I made time for these two, no distractions, wanted to feel it, I felt it. So yeah, I'm gonna make more time for kung fu movies, get back into them a little bit more.
Hell yeah. My last question here is, did you have fun?
Oh hell yeah, I did have fun. 36 Chambers was fun. Did not expect the cries in Shaolin, but 36 Chambers.
Both great movies. One will make you cry. Well, where can people find you on the socials and everything?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram, same handle, Screened and Scored.
Hell yes, he makes good stuff, and his reviews are always extremely knowledgeable and very fun to watch because he has a good, nice presentation. It's very soothing. It's very nice. So please track down my guest on TikTok and any other socials. I will have them linked down below in the description. Of course, you can find me, Martial Arts Film Freak, on Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak on the Facebook page, and Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok. And of course, you should always like and subscribe like you're doing right now. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the show. And if this is your first time on the channel, your first time watching the Martial Arts Film Freak, well, I welcome you to Kung Fu.